Disclaimer before the video starts. I recorded this a few days ago, and I was younger and full of hope and had a desire to stay positive. But since then, I've had time to reflect. And honestly, I'm pretty pissed about all of the inaccuracies and changes that they've implemented. So, if I seem calm and positive, just know that current me is right there with you, shaking his head and wondering, what the fuck is going on? Anyway, enjoy the video. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Views from the Porch. Don't let this douchebag face of mine scare you away, because today I want to talk about one of the most anticipated returns to TV. I'm talking about The Last of Us. Okay, they changed a bunch of shit on us in season 1. We're all pissed about it. Probably equally as pissed as we were on how the second game turned out. But if you're a fan, which I assume you are because you clicked on this video, let's discuss the differences between the game and the TV show on season 2, why they made these changes, and what that possibly means for the story going forward, because they did continue to change some stuff. The question is, was it for the better? Let's talk about it. All right, so let's talk about one of the biggest changes that the TV show makes right out of the gate, and that's the structure. In the game, things seem to follow a pretty linear path. We get a sense of Ellie's trauma and growth as we go, but the show, not so much. One standout shift that I noticed was Tommy's shooting lesson with Ellie. In the game, that's a flashback from 2 years earlier. It's a memory. It's tucked into the narrative later on. But in the show, they move it right up front. It happens in real time, right at the beginning of the season. Why does this matter? To me, it's because it immediately reframes Ellie's mindset. Instead of remembering who she used to be, we're seeing who she's becoming right now. The show is trying to get us to watch her sharpen, prepare, and emotionally brace for what's ahead. That's my take on it anyway. It also plants the seeds early. There's this tension, this need to protect, to act, to be ready. And by showing us that so soon, the show's foreshadowing some very heavy stuff without having to say it out loud. So, yeah, to me, that's a small change in timing, but it's a huge shift in how we experience Ellie's development. There's a few other small, subtle changes. I could talk about these all day, but we won't. For example, when Ellie and Dina go on their first, or the first to us, outing together, scouting. In the game, they're alone. In the TV show, they have a group with them. When Ellie falls through the floor of the grocery store, it's not by herself in the game. Dina actually falls down there too, and that's not the first time that they've run into these stalkers. The TV show is just now introducing them to us, but it doesn't happen that way in the game. Now let's talk about someone who's definitely not in the game. Gail, Joel's therapist. Gail is played by the legend herself, Catherine O'Hara. Now, at first I was like, hold up. Moira Rose is about to diagnose Joel with PTSD? But her character is a fascinating addition. She's brand new, and that's kind of a big deal. In the game, we never really get a clinical look into Joel's head. It's all subtle, buried in grunts, silence, and the occasional emotional outburst. But Gail gives us a window into his psychological state. Through her, the show explores Joel's trauma, his guilt, and that constant internal war he's been fighting. Something that the game mostly left for us to interpret. It adds a new layer of complexity to his emotional arc, and honestly, if you haven't played the games, it makes his choices hit even harder. So I do understand a little bit, and I like this new character. I understand why they added it. There's only so much that you can add into a TV show that you're definitely not going to get that you would in a 40-plus hour game. One of the boldest choices in this episode is how directly it handles Ellie's sexual identity and public affection, especially in a post-apocalyptic world. Unlike the game, which often leaned on subtle moments, glances, like hidden journals and optional dialogue, the show brings it to the forefront. We see characters expressing love, grief, and identity out loud and on the screen. We also see the harsh reactions from some members of the community. This is not new. This was in the game. We know this. It's not just about who they love. It's about the world around them and how it responds. Now, I'll say this. The intention is solid. I think it adds authenticity and stakes, especially in a setting where survival often means hiding who you are. But how well it's woven into the world, that's where opinions may split. Some viewers might feel it's powerful and necessary. Others might say it felt a little on the nose. We also saw this when the second game came out. People were pretty on the fence about how the story unfolded, especially how the story unfolded, but about how much it leaned on sexual identity. Let's talk about the characters, okay? We already know that Neil and his team are going to fucking change shit just like they did in season 1. They're going to take some characters and they're going to make some changes. And we're already seeing that in episode 1 of season 2. Dina, I have to say, they nailed. I think the character looks like she did in the game and acts like she did in the game. I think it came right out of the gate, Dina that we all know and loved. When it comes to Abby, however, I think Abby looks more like Ellie did in the game. Somehow. Maybe that's just me. And we see Abby early on in this episode. And by early on, I mean in where she is in life. We see her right after the hospital scene. And she's not fucking jacked, okay? But she's not jacked in the game that early either. So what's going to piss me off is if the TV show doesn't make her jacked by the time it gets there. And my prediction is I don't think they're going to, because that would take a whole lot of work. The character, the actor or actress would have to do a lot of heavy lifting. Abby in the game is built like a fucking brick shithouse. And I think that tells a lot about her growth as a character and her story, how she's hardened as a person. And if they don't do that, I think it's going to rip away a lot of what the game brought us in that story. Now, the game tried to get us to empathize with Abby. I wasn't fucking having it. Not after the first game. I fell in love with these characters. You're not going to introduce a bad character and then try to make us love her because of what she's gone through. Absolutely not. Not for me, anyway. I imagine the TV show is going to try to do the same thing. We might have some flashbacks into, what Abby's going through. If you haven't played the game, I'm not going to spoil what all this means and why she's doing what she's doing. But if you have played the games, you know. Now, they also introduced us to Jesse this episode. And I love Jesse. I think he was a very fun character in the game. He had this playfulness about him. And I think that they've nailed that with this actor. I think he's going to do a great job being Jesse. I think he looks a lot like him. I think his cadence is on point, his acting, his quips, they're not exactly line for line from the game, of course, but I think it's great. Now, when it comes to what to expect in the next episode, on to what we're going to expect in this whole season, I have no fucking clue, because I know that they love changing things, as we've talked about multiple times at this point. Who knows? Are we going to see Abby do what she's going to do in the next episode? The thing that we all hated that they did? Are they going to wait a while? Are they going to drag that out? Are they going to take more flashbacks and implement them into real time? It's going to be hard with Joel and the flashbacks. If they're going to put it in real time, they're going to have to do it real quick. We did see in season 1 that they took a whole episode dedicated to a character that was not there for long. And who I'm talking about, of course, is Bill. This guy was a hardened survivalist living in a fortified town that he made. And they took a whole episode in the first season to talk about his love interest and what happened, when in the game, all we got to see was the end of that. So who knows what they're actually going to do in this season. I look forward to seeing what other changes they might make. I'm praying to God that they're good and productive. I think that them shifting things around Honestly, it really pisses me off just because I like to keep things the way that they are. And if you're going to change something, make it better. If you're going to change something, change Joel's fate. Okay, that's what we all really want. We know they're not going to do that. We pray for it, but it's probably not going to happen. So, listen, I look forward to seeing what exactly turns out and how they end up creating this. They have a little bit more funding now since season 1 was such a success. I'm excited that this show brought viewers that would have never seen it otherwise, because I mean, I had been saying for years that this was the best storyline that's ever been made. I actually forced people to watch the gameplay on YouTube just so they could understand what I was talking about. And it was actually met pretty well. People sat that weren't gamers and watched someone play a game for roughly 8 hours. Not in a day. We would break it up, but they were interested. And I think that says a lot. Listen, if you enjoyed this video and you found anything interesting, or you think I'm a schmuck who doesn't know what he's talking about, you're right. I just love the game. I love the show, just because I love the story. I definitely think that there's some things that could have been done differently, but I'm also not a director nor a writer. So what do I know? I'm just here to interpret and tell you what's different and what's not. Listen, if no one's told you today, I love you and I appreciate you. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you next time.